I'm Felicia,
And I'm Ian.
and we are the Paranormal Lovers.
Hello, paranormal dudes, dudettes, and dudays. Welcome back to another episode of the Paranormal Lovers.
Hey guys,
Hey guys.
welcome back. Thanks for joining us for another episode, number 139.
Yep.
Oh, God. Sorry if I'm distracted today. I'm on a liquid diet because I have a medical procedure tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, I'm not getting a camera shoved up my ass. It's going down my throat. I'm not that old yet.
Wonder if anybody's ever had both of them at the same time.
See if I can meet in the middle. It's so fucked up. Oh, God. All right. We're back this week with another episode of the Friend Don't Lie Files. But first, what did you love about this week?
It's been a long week.
You're fucking telling me.
I seen something weird that happened at the lake the other day.
What's that?
So
Oh, the ice.
the lake was frozen with ice. Like, just the very top of it was. And the wind started blowing, and it literally shoved all the ice up onto the bank. And so there was like a 3 or 4 foot tall, looked like these ice crystals just like shoved up onto the bank.
Imagine how the Great Lakes look
I know
when it does that shit up there. I'm sure that looks insane.
I bet it does. That was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you love about this week? Prepping for colonoscopy.
No, not at all. I did love having Patty at work Wednesday.
Yeah, she's out of school a bunch.
She was out of school, but I work with two really cool. Well, I work with a ton of cool people, but my work bestie, Auntie Shitney, and my other work bestie, Uncle Bam, kept taking her away from me.
Yeah.
So I could have some time without her, and she had fun. I don't think I ever showed you the picture. I gotta look and see if I think they sent me the picture of her. They dressed her up like she was in a marching band, which was like
That's funny.
the dorkiest thing ever.
Yeah.
Let's see, I don't have it on my phone. But yeah, that's good. I mean, otherwise, no. I've had a really shitty week. Been prepping for a colonoscopy for the last few days.
Yeah.
I don't have that picture. I'll have to get Sydney to send it to me.
For sure.
So it's school. Patty was out of school until Friday. So who got a day to themselves? Ian. Me? No.
Right.
But we made it through. I didn't yell. So, I'm healing.
Yeah.
Yay. Anyways, what do you got for us this week, babe?
All right. Episode 139. So when we left off, we were talking about Project Artichoke, and it was disbanded to make way for a new, even bigger project in the works of the U.S. government. And it would go on to be named MKUltra.
The Ultra of
So
MK.
welcome back to the Friends Don't Lie files, guys.
And
This
not the
was-
band.
This was pretty much, they took Stranger Things storyline from things that happened in MKUltra.
Yeah.
So, when we left off, Project Artichoke was operating out of the Office of Technical Services. The CIA used the cryptonym MK to designate this. The word Ultra was just a word from the dictionary that they selected for naming the project.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a rando name.
Hang on, I got that picture.
Nice. That's cute.
I was like, Lord have mercy.
Right.
Y'all are retarded.
So where was I?
Sorry, MK Ultra was a dictionary.
Oh yeah, the ultra word was just from the dictionary that they just randomly selected it to represent the project. The project was started by the CIA director Alan Dulles on April 13th of 1953. He chose Sidney Gottlieb to be the head of MK Ultra.
Oh, Sidney Gottlieb.
You guys might remember those names from the last Friends Don't Lie files. They were heavily involved with Project Artichoke. Their goal was to develop mind controlling drugs that they could use against the Soviets, the Chinese, and North Korea during the Korean War, which is my grandfather fought in the Korean War.
Oh shit.
Uh, so it's kind of, I'm sitting there thinking, like, was he involved? you
Listen,
know?
he could have very well been dosed against his knowledge and just never knew about it, and that was why he was such an asshole.
Right.
Wait, was this Nana's husband
This was
or the prior grandpa?
mom's dad.
Okay, different guy then. I don't
Yeah.
know if he was an asshole or not.
Um, so they wanted to do this because allegedly the Soviets, the Chinese, and the North Koreans were doing it um, to U.S. prisoners of war. So, if the Soviets were doing it, we wanted to use the same techniques on our own captives. Because, that's morally correct and all.
Of course, you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet.
Right. The CIA was also very interested in manipulating foreign leaders with those techniques, all while doing these experiments without anyone's consent.
Informed consent.
They came up with several plans also at the time to drug Fidel Castro.
Oh my god, they tried to kill him so many times.
They funded academic researchers through grants sponsored by the CIA as front organizations. Sound familiar? It's all the techniques developed in Project Artichoke.
Mm-hmm.
They were working on perfecting a truth serum that they could use to interrogate people uh, that they thought were Soviet spies, because we were in a Cold War with Russia at the time. They also carried out other experiments exploring mind control. Subproject 54 was a top secret Navy experiment which used subaural frequencies to blast, or subaural frequency blasts to erase memory. Although the Navy really never got to use it, uh, it was a project that harnessed low frequencies being played that were below frequencies humans can hear.
Okay, so we haven't covered it yet, and it was actually supposed to be the very first episode. But that's one of the theories about what happened with the Dyatlov Pass incident.
Hmm.
Like they think that there was like a super secret like supersonic test that the Soviets were doing, and these people that were hiking just like got caught in it, and the sound like made them crazy. Essentially,
Right.
very interesting.
It is interesting.
Very interesting how it all comes together.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The CIA funded more than 150 subprojects that were connected in one way or the other to MK Ultra.
Oh,
That's crazy, isn't it?
150.
150 of them.
That is crazy.
Uh, this was a time of paranoia for the U.S. Other countries were developing their own nuclear weapon projects, and the whole Red Scare thing was gripping
Hmm.
the country. The CIA counterintelligence chief had a belief that there was a mole that was infiltrating the CIA at the time, so they were all paranoid about who was like who.
Yeah.
James Jesus Angelton had reason to believe that the mole. Yeah, what a name, right?
Jesus, man.
James Jesus Angelton.
Oh, that is a name.
He had reason to believe that the mole had access to the highest levels of the organization. So they thought it was like somebody super important.
I mean, maybe.
The leaders of MKUltra would go on to pour millions of dollars into studies on how they could influence people and use mind control on them, and to interrogate subjects and make them give information to them against their will. They would also fund ridiculous programs to throw the media off of what they were really trying to do, which was very effective in covering up MK Ultra.
Hmm.
As soon as you know from Project, or as you all know from Project Artichoke, these guys were into everything and they had people everywhere. I mean, everywhere. Project Artichoke wasn't the only project the CIA had going before they all became MK Ultra. There were many. One of them was called MK Search, which was divided into two sub-projects, which were called MK Often and MK Chickwit. MK Search was a project directed by the U.S. Army Chemical Corps and the CIA Office of Research and Development. The aim of the project was to discover offensive use agents. Agents as in like substances,
Okay, I was thinking
not
like,
not
yeah,
people.
yeah,
Um,
shit. I can't think of any fucking biological weapons now.
yeah. They tested biological, chemical, and radioactive substances that would make humans act a certain way, a way that would make them predictable. By the time funding ended in 1971, they had identified 26,000 agents or substances that they could use.
That's insane.
Another subproject was Project 139, which studied
Like episode 139.
oh yeah, like episode 139,
That's crazy.
which studied bird migration patterns and how they could use birds for chemical and biological warfare,
No fucking wonder
which
people
is
think birds aren't real.
fucking scary. Like they just like, I don't know, give them bird flu.
I guess I don't or like have them carrying canisters or something.
hmm
I don't know.
Project 139 was conducted at Pennsylvania State University, so they were doing it in a university.
Of course there were.
While these projects were going on, MK often was doing all the testing of drugs on animals and eventually humans. They would run toxicology reports and transmittivity tests and also study the behavioral effects of the drugs. The MK Chickwit project dealt with finding and acquiring drugs from developers in Europe and Asia. These projects, along with projects such as Paperclip and Artichoke, eventually culminated into Project MK Ultra. Uh, there's also another Subproject 68 was one of the more crazy projects that fell under the umbrella of MK Ultra. It was conducted at the Allen Memorial Institute in Montreal. The head of the project was director and psychiatrist Dr. Donald Ewan Cameron. It was probably the most unethical project that came out of MK Ultra. Again, Project 68 was another program studying mind control. It would use a method called psychic driving and depatterning. Donald would subject his patients to recorded messages played over and over again. He would play these messages for extended amounts of times while dosing the patients with mind altering drugs like LSD.
If I'm not mistaken, hang on. There's a serial killer.
I was so listening to Metallica uh, while writing this.
Oh my
So
god.
it one kept popping into my head like darkness imprisoning me.
Yeah, let's see. Which serial killer not ate his victims? There's quite a few of those. Participated in research study. Because there was
I,
one.
I think I get to that later.
Do you?
Hmm.
Okay. Oh.
um, maybe.
Okay.
I don't think I mentioned that one.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about it when you get there.
Okay. Um, so the theme of the messages that the doctor would like play for him would be self improvement and identity reinforcement. Like you're a banana.
Yeah.
uh, it had to be torturous, man. Like just messages playing over and over while you're tripping. MK Ultra used up more than $10 million investigating. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
investigating chemical, biological, and radiological methods of controlling the mind. The director of the CIA once said that there were over 30 institutions and universities that helped them test drugs on unknowing citizens. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
They tested them on all social levels: rich, poor, white, black. They even ran tests on indigenous people and foreigners as well. They even tested LSD in social environments without the subjects knowing that they had been dosed, which is nuts. Like, all of a sudden, you just be tripping.
And you just have no idea why. And you think you're going insane.
Yep.
Like,
Uh,
ugh.
the the U.S. Army were also involved in testing LSD for the MK Ultra project. They did it in 3 phases. The first involved 1,000 soldiers that volunteered for the testing of chemical warfare. The second phase had 96 volunteers who would be dosed with LSD to study the intelligence uses of the drug. The third phase, which was named Project Third Chance and dubbed Project Derby Hat, ran experiments on 16 soldiers without their consent. They dosed the soldiers with LSD and proceeded to interrogate the officers as part of their field tests. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me wonder, didn't your wasn't your dad in the army?
Air Force.
Gotcha.
Which, like, my mother always did say when he came back from California,
It wasn't the same.
he was not like he literally. She said she met him on the beach and he just looked crazed.
Right.
Which we think that had something to do with like he has thyroid issues, but
Yeah. Which, I mean, if he was in a hospital for thyroid stuff, like, they were into hospitals and stuff.
yeah.
Um, so, now a little backstory on LSD. The psychedelic drug lysergic acid di- diethylamide was associated or isolated in a lab in Basel, Switzerland. The man who isolated it was Albert Hofmann at the Sandoz Laboratories in 1938. He then dosed some, uh, like any scientist would, and took some on his bicycle ride home, like a boss. Uh, the day became known to psychonauts everywhere as Bicycle Day. Well, in the 1950s, when Sidney Gottlieb, the director of MKUltra, learned that Albert was synthesizing this mind-altering drug, he went to Switzerland to see if he could secure the whole supply of LSD from Hoffman, the whole shebang.
Okay.
Sidney gave Albert $240,000 for the whole batch of LSD,
That's a lot.
all of it. Sidney would go on to spread his supply of LSD to prisons, hospitals, institutions, clinics, and foundations in order to see how citizens would react to the drug without knowing exactly what was happening. You know, I bet if he got a hold of some acid in like the 1960s, it was probably acid from Albert Hoffman,
Yeah.
because like that whole supply was just like thrown all over America.
Mm-hmm.
uh, Also, with all the hippies taking acid and freeing their minds back then, I'm gonna chalk MK Ultra up as a kind of failed experiment,
Yeah.
or at least an unforeseen backfire.
A wide-reaching failed experiment, though.
Right. Uh, Early CIA experiments specifically used the drug LSD 25, which was a staple of the MK Ultra program. Now I don't know what the differences is in LSD 25 and like other numbered ones,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna have to research that. They used LSD 25 to see if they could make Russian spies defect against their will, and also ran experiments on our own agents to see if Russia could make them defect against the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Again, in 1953, the CIA set out to purchase 10 kilograms of LSD. That's over 100 million doses. So
Yeah.
they like bought more after that.
Yeah.
They wanted to buy out Albert's supply chain to try and stop other countries from getting any. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
These doses came from the same place in Switzerland, Sandoz Laboratories. When MK Ultra started in 1953, they had lots of LSD and set out administering it to mental patients, prisoners, drug addicts, and prostitutes. People who kind of wouldn't resist to what they were doing. During one experiment, they dosed a mental patient in Kentucky every day for 174 days straight.
That's too much.
Half a year.
That's too much.
Uh, Moving on from there, they dosed CIA employees, military personnel, doctors, and other government agents, and yes,
Mm-hmm.
civilians.
Mm-hmm.
They were studying what people's reactions would be when on high doses of LSD. Their goal was to find drugs to bring out a person's most inner confessions, or just plainly wipe their memory of an experience, and also program them to act as a robot agent for the CIA. Military personnel who participated in experiments were told that if they told anyone what was going on in MK Ultra, that they would be court-martialed, seeing as how none of them agreed to the experiment.
Right.
The LSD was administered without knowledge and without consent. This violated the Nuremberg Code that the U.S. had agreed to after World War II. So they were pretty much doing this, you know, by breaking the law.
Illegally, yeah.
Yeah, illegally. Um, Many veterans who had been a part of MK Ultra later sued and sought monetary reparations. Another sub-project of MK Ultra was a project called Operation Midnight Climax. And if it sounds like a cheesy porno, you are close to what the
Because
leaders
that's
were
what it
doing.
was.
Yeah. The CIA had set up several brothels and safe houses that they had procured in San Francisco at the time. They would go on to lure civilians and officers who they knew had experienced things that they were too embarrassed to talk about uh, into the brothels. They then dosed the men with LSD and watched them through one-way mirrors.
Creepy fuckers.
Yeah. They would use the sex workers to ask the men questions and film the event to study what the men did later. That's crazy.
So weird,
Yep.
man.
They also dosed other people who they brought in for interrogation. They shot bright lights at them while asking them questions in a room full of doctors who would record what they say. They would threaten to keep people, tripping, uh, if they did not get them the information that they wanted. It's pretty fucking brutal.
It is. It's
Like,
also a good way to like create an addict.
yeah. These were usually CIA agents, military personnel, and agents suspected of working for the Soviets. This resulted in several people not coming back from their trips.
Hmm.
Some were debilitated for life. Like they probably thought they were a banana.
Imagine if you'd been dosed for 174 days.
Yeah, for real. And even some of them died during that experiment. Uh, Probably the only deaths that were ever attributed to taking too much LSD.
Hmm.
Like, because like just taking LSD on its own won't kill you.
No,
But
taking too much of it will.
they also, at the time, would bribe heroin addicts to make them take LSD. So like they weren't just doing it to like people that were just on LSD. There was
Hmm.
other substances as well. Um, they they gave the heroin addicts, or they bribed the heroin addicts to take LSD by giving them more heroin. Yeah, that's our government.
Pretty much.
Some people during that time were eager to volunteer for the CIA's LSD trials. A Stanford psychology graduate, Vic Lovell, who was friends with Allen Ginsberg, invited Ken Kesey, one of his friends, to try the new drug. Under CIA financing and the MKUltra project, Kesey volunteered at the Menlo Park Veterans Hospital, where he worked as a night aide. So that's like they were in veterans hospitals also. Um,
Same thing they did with radiation.
right. He volunteered in LSD studies and also let them test other drugs such as psilocybin, mescaline, cocaine, AMT, I don't even know what AMT is, and DMT on him. Which again, I think uh, that had sort of a backfiring considering
Hmm.
Ken went on to write One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest
Oh shit.
and also was part of the hippie movement. And his Merry Pranksters, which was just a name for him and his friends, he also went around in a school bus offering the electric Kool-Aid acid test to anyone and everyone in the
Woohoo.
60s.
Sounds like fun.
uh, I could go on about King Kesey, but I digress. Uh, in MK Ultra, the Office of Security administered LSD to people for interrogations, but Sidney Gottlieb wanted to take it even farther and was cooking up an idea to use LSD in covert CIA operations. Since LSD, like any other drug, would eventually wear off, he thought, hey, let's dose up some high ranking officials and see what happens to them when they go to important meetings and
Jesus Christ.
speeches and other things. He knew that dosing someone in a lab setting was way different than dosing them in everyday life.
Hmm.
When they first started, they tried it on the whole technical services staff. So, like, a whole building of people was tripping.
Those staff meetings were lit. Either that or fucking terrifying one.
Right. Uh, Two people would both get dosed up and sit around in a room somewhere taking notes and on on what they observed about each other. Harmless, right?
No.
Sure.
Till their
But
face starts to melt off.
after the program really started evolving, they would pull in outsiders and dose them really just for no reason at all. I would just say for the fun of it. But to the outsider, it was probably terrifying.
Yeah.
The CIA started dosing so many people that if you worked at the CIA while MK Ultra was going, you just kind of had to accept that they were going to dose you up with LSD at some point.
Jesus Christ.
Like, just out of the blue.
No, thank
Like,
you. I quit. See you later. Bye.
like you would be at your kid's baseball game and all of a sudden everything would get all drippy and shit.
Shit. No, my God.
Some people didn't react to it very well. Uh,
No.
they put some in one poor guy's morning coffee once, and in about an hour, he became psychotic and ran down the streets of Washington, D.C., seeing monsters in the windows of all the cars he passed.
So those are people.
The CIA didn't care, though. Uh, there's a reason indigenous people say never trust the government.
Amen to that.
Well, the story of Frank Olsen is a prime example of that. Frank was an army chemist who had never touched LSD a day in his life. He was a biological weapons researcher. He was linked to the 1951 Pont Saint Esprit mass poisoning incident, which is one that we might cover.
Yeah, that
But
sounds interesting.
it was said that they all got ergot poisoning via a local bakery, which is is possible because ergot is a precursor for lysergic acid.
Yeah, and it grows in wheat.
Yep. Well, for MKUltra, a covert operation operative dosed Frank with LSD one day. 9 days later, Frank would jump off a 13-story New York City hotel room, instantly killing the man. Oh, excuse me. The drug
Sure,
had
he
sent
jumped.
right. The drug had sent Frank into a spiraling depression, which he eventually succumbed to. Even though Frank was part of the CIA and MK Ultra, he had vocalized his concern that the project was wrong and expressed to his supervisors that he wanted to resign from the CIA. Frank was concerned about developing materials used to assassinate people. He was upset that he was making and arranging biological weapons to be used in covert operations and also used on populated areas. So, like, they were trying to dose mass amounts of people.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he had also collaborated with Nazi scientists during Project Paperclip and developed a LSD mind control program for interrogation in Project Artichoke. After Frank was dosed without knowledge in New York City in 1953, his monitoring agent claimed that Frank was asleep in his hotel room when Olsen fell to his death. The CIA, of course, said it was suicide,
Mm-hmm.
and Sidney Gottlieb said that Frank had had prior knowledge of the experiment. Although other men participating in the experiment said no one told them until 20 minutes after that they had dosed him with LSD. Sidney Gottlieb was reprimanded for not taking into account of Frank's already diagnosed suicidal tendencies, but it wasn't until 1975 that Olsen's family received $750,000 as a settlement for Frank's death. Also, President Gerald Ford gave them a formal apology.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Wow.
Gee, thanks.
Something still wasn't right about the Frank Olsen story, though. So, in 1994, Olsen's body was exhumed for an autopsy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They found that Frank Olsen had suffered from a head injury before he had
Mm-hmm.
exited the building in New York City. The
Mm-hmm.
medical examiner at the time believed that Frank had been thrown from the window.
He was chucked out of the window.
Since Frank's death was now chalked up to a homicide, we know that the CIA probably killed Frank Olsen because he had become a security threat for the CIA.
Because he wasn't about that shit no more.
Yep. Got to take a little toot.
I saw something. I remember watching something. It was like I want to say it was called Wormwood,
Yep.
and that was about Frank
Yep.
Olsen.
That's the was it a show?
Yeah, I
I think
think
it
we
was a
watched
show.
it, and I was like, "Oh, they threw him out the
Yep. Yeah, they made Wormwood a show about that incident.
window." Mm-hmm.
The experiments continued, though. Some people consented to the experiments, and in doing so, they were usually singled out for the more extreme experiments, which was the case for 7 drug-addicted African Americans. The CIA experimented with LSD on these men at the National Institute of Mental Health Addiction Research Center in Kentucky and were dosed with LSD for 77 consecutive days.
Jesus Christ.
Just nuts.
They're just trying to kill people.
They were. The researchers that worked for MKUltra seemed to give up on LSD after seeing that LSD produced unpredictable results. Like some people had probably had a great time, but
Mm-hmm.
others were just paranoid and was like,
Yeah, they
"Fuck."
kind of fucked up because like they introduced hippies
Yeah,
to fun drugs,
yeah.
and then they thought they could just take them away from us.
It changed hippies' minds so immensely that they just pretty much stopped the Vietnam War. But it's all about set and setting with LSD. Like if you're in the wrong place and time, you're not gonna have fun. Or if you're in the right place, you will.
Yeah.
Uh, they figured out that though the LSD would not give them the answers to everything, but they could, however, use it for cloak and dagger work because people would instantly get paranoid.
Yeah.
Uh, Later on in 1962, the CIA, while working with the Army, found a new drug that proved to be more potent weapon in the mind control field. That drug was the super hallucinogen BZ. I had no
Easy.
clue that there was a drug called this, but
No
at the
idea.
time, all support for LSD research became less of a priority. Another technique used by the MKUltra researchers was the administration of barbiturate, uh, fed intravenously. Then, as soon as the patient would fall asleep from that drug, they would drip amphetamine into the other arm intravenously. So, like, down and up, down and up.
Yeah.
They went on to find drugs for every single behavior, and uh, such as cognitive enhancers, disease mimetics, euphorants, drugs that would diminish ambition. Uh, many people were involved with MK Ultra in some way or form. Allen Ginsberg was at Stanford University when he first tried LSD. He kicked back and listened to several records.
Mm.
He said that he felt a lingering paranoia throughout most of his acid experiences in the 1960s, and that it wasn't until much later when Ginsberg learned that meditation was the key to taking a trip through his own mind. Harold Blauer was a tennis player who was dosed up as part of MK Ultra. He had checked into the New York State Psychiatric Institute because of depression that he had or that he had been going through because of a bad divorce. He died there after someone had injected 4 methylene dioxymedephine into his arm.
Yeah, sure.
Robert Hunter was an early volunteer at Stanford University for MK Ultra. He was best known for songwriting for the Grateful Dead.
Ah, cool.
These people for sure were involved in MK, or were dosed up as part of MK Ultra.
Mm-hmm.
Most MK Ultra files, however, on the use of all these drugs were destroyed in 1973. So who knows how many other people that it had affected.
Yep.
Some people think that Whitey Bulger was dosed with LSD weekly during his stint in prison in Atlanta. Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, was a part of a voluntary psychological study at
Yeah.
Harvard University. The study was done by Harvard psychologist Henry Murray. Supposedly, this was linked to MKUltra, and the experiment was said to be purposefully brutalizing. Uh, Ted endured 200 hours of this brutal experiment. A man named Sirhan Sirhan, the man that shot Robert F. Kennedy, was believed to be operating under mind control as part of MKUltra.
Mm,
Charles Manson was also believed to have taken part in MKUltra.
a big part.
While Charles did time in prison, he had taken part in drug-induced psychological experiments done by the federal government. Seeing as how the files for MKUltra had been destroyed, ooh, did I write that same thing twice? I think I did. Uh, so yeah, all those people very well could have been MKUltra,
Definitely makes sense.
right? Um, but that is not all of the story.
No.
So come back next week for part 2.
Or the week after.
Yeah, the week after for part 2 of MKUltra.
Actually, it's more like part 3.
Man, doing this one was crazy.
Yeah, it's part 3 of MK Ultra.
I kept going, wow, like they dose those people, they dose those people, they dose those
Yeah.
people, like
They didn't care. They didn't care. And like especially if you signed up to work for the government, whether in the military or pushing papers or whatever, they see you as their property.
yeah,
And they can do whatever they want to with you. And the same goes for like prisons. Like I literally had a relative that was in prison, and when she was supposed to get out, she got a jailhouse tattoo because like, like a rite of passage,
right.
and she got an additional 6 months tacked on to her sentence
Wow,
for destruction of government property.
that's crazy. Yep.
But they can dose you with drugs against your will and without
Yeah.
your consent and full knowledge, and they're just like, meh, it's fine.
It really kind of, I don't know, put in perspective of the scope of all of it. Like, it's crazy.
It was huge. People
Yeah,
don't realize
it
how
was
big
huge.
and far-reaching MK Ultra is.
Yep.
Very huge. Holy shit. I'm sorry, guys. Tired.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was real good. You guys come back next week for I don't know what. I have no idea what I'm covering next week. Come back and find out.
Right.
We shall see, I guess. I don't know. God, is it time for a cult? No, not a cult.
MKUltra to a cult. That seems right.
That does seem right. Maybe I'll do a cult of personality. Those are fascinating. Listen, they keep In Living Color keeps playing
Yeah.
on the radio at work, and every time I hear it, I'm like, the cult of personality. Fucking love that song, man. It's so fucking relevant today, too.
Yeah.
It's real funny. It's from what, like 1990, 1996?
Yeah.
It's amazing how relevant that song is 30 years later. Hello.
I mean, like if you didn't have MKUltra, who knows how much music never would have even happened.
That's true. That's kind of crazy to think about.
Like the songwriter for the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
Like what?
But then we wouldn't have Charlie Manson either, and I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a trade-off.
I don't know.
Because we'd still have Sharon Tate and whatever baby she was going to give birth to.
Right.
Jesus Christ. Terrible stuff.
It is.
All right, guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode. We hope you have a good week.
You guys be kind to each other and resist.
And we will see you guys later.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.